Okay, let's go ahead and look at the 2003B question. We're really just going to focus on questions A through C. The reason why is because part D is just hard to talk about. It's absolute minimum, but it's hard to talk about when we're not giving, these are calculator active questions, okay? So my hope is that we at least learn how to set all these up and worry about things that are more calculator active. So let's go ahead and go to part A. Or let's read the question. A tank contains 120 gallons of heating oil at T equals 0. So just to start off, just like normal, we got this heating tank, right? I'm gonna just write it like this. Here's this heating tank, and it's got already to start off, let me go a little bit darker here. It's got 125 gallons of oil, so 125, okay? During the time interval of 0 to 12, heating oil is pumped into the tank at a rate of H of T. So heating oil is pumped into here. Actually, I meant to change the color. I don't know why it's not changing my color. Oh, here we go. Okay. Heating oil is getting pumped into here by H of T gallons per hour. So if I write PVA, this one is currently in velocity. And then during the same interval, heating oil is removed from the tank at a rate of gallons per hour. So if I write PVA, this one is also in velocity. Be careful because sometimes one is in velocity and the other one is like in position. All right. So heating oil is being pumped and heating oil is being removed. So something's coming in, something's coming out, and we have our initial condition. How many gallons of heating oil are pumped into the tank during this time interval 0 to 12? Well, we want to know how many gallons of heating oil are pumped into the tank. Well, it only cares about what's being pumped in. We don't care about how much we started with, how much is leaving. We care about how much is pumped. So we're going to do the antiderivative because it's gallons, that's position. From 0 to 12, H of T dt. And that is part 1. We would plug that into my calculator and we would be done. Nothing else to do. Let's go to part B. Is the level of heating oil in the tank rising or falling at T equals 6? So we want to find out, is the level of heating oil in the tank rising or falling at T equals 6? So I want you to know rising is like another word for increasing. Falling is like another word for decreasing, right? And if it's positive, it's increasing. If it's negative, it's decreasing. The problem is you have something coming in, you got something coming out. So we need to take into account both. So we're going to do H of 6 minus R of 6, the rate coming in minus the rate coming out. Now, if it is positive, then it's rising. If it is negative, then it is falling at T equals 6, right? That's how you would do part B. So just be mindful with story problems. You got to see words that say rising, falling. It's really just another word for increasing, decreasing, and you got to take both into account, and we're already given rates, so we don't need to take derivatives or anything like that. All right, let's go to part C. How many gallons of heating oil are in the tank at T equals 12? Now, this is important because it's asking you how many gallons of heating oil are in the tank. How many are actually there? So we need to figure out how much exactly is in this freaking tank. That's what we got to know. Well, we got to take into account everything. How much did we start with? Well, we started with 125 plus, well, the antiderivative from 0 to 12, H of T. This is going to tell me how much went in. Now, it's the rate. Take the antiderivative so that we can just get gallons. That's going to give me that. Subtracted by how much got removed. So from 0 to 12. And then this is R of T dt. Now, I'm going to make a quick note. The zeros on the bottom are only because it told you that at 125 gallons of heating oil, T is equal to 0. If this said T is equal to 3, this would have to be 3 right here in order to have the 125 right there, okay? But obviously it doesn't, so this is 0. And there is my problem. I have set up C, and we are good to go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll talk about part D very briefly. Part D, at what time T from 0 to 12 is the volume of the heating oil in the tank the least? Show the analysis that lead to your conclusion. This is obviously asking about absolute minimum. And there's really just two things we want to check, right? We always talk about our endpoints. Now, because it's absolute minimum, right? We know at 0, it's 125. And then at 12, we'd kind of have to figure this out. This is calculator active, so we can do this the traditional way. We'll have to do a lot of setups to figure out how much heating oil is in the tank at 12. We also need to do H prime of T minus R prime of T. Sorry. Why did I just say prime? I don't need primes. We're already given the derivative. My apologies. I need to do H of T minus R of T, and I need to set it equal to 0. all I would do is take this equation, put it in my calculator as y1, this one as y2, and then I'm going to find when they intersect, because that is when they're equal to 0. That's when they're both the same values, right? There's no difference between the values. When I do that, I'll find my value. T is equal to, and I'll get something like, I'll actually end up getting two separate values, one here, and I got to put them here, and then I'm going to have to test them out. Now, how do you figure these out? Well, how do we figure these out? Well, we're going to have to do, for example, 125 plus 0 to 12. Because it's 12, this is going to be h of t minus r of t. You can do them separately or you can put them together. It's up to you. dt, we need to figure this value out. And then we're going to do the same thing when we find these two values here. I believe one of them was like 4.7 something, and then the other one is 11 point something. I forget. But anyways, then this is going to be, for example, this was 4.7 here. 4.7. We'll do 125 plus 0, 4.7, and then we're going to repeat this process all over again, and then we're going to find these, okay? And that's how we would do this problem because it's calculator active. So hopefully that makes sense, y'all. I'm out. Take care. Capiche?